by now, certainly you have heard that Bill Belichick is not a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and everyone has joined in saying that that is absolutely ridiculous. So the Hall of Fame released a statement yesterday in response to the outrage, saying in part, quote, "The Pro Football Hall of Fame understands and respects the passionate reaction of many fans, media members, and enshrinees of the hall itself in light of published reports regarding the voting results of the class of 2026. It goes on to say, if it is determined that any member violated the selection process bylaws, they understand action will be taken that could include the possibility that such selector would not remain a member of the committee moving forward. Now, Bill Belichick is not mentioned by name in this statement, but we all know what they are referring to, obviously. Tom Brady also weighed in on the snub.
I don't understand it. I mean, I was with them every day. If he's not a first-ballot Hall of Famer, there's really no coach that should ever be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, which is completely ridiculous because people deserve it, and he's incredible. There's no coach I'd ever want to play for. I'd rather play for. If I'm picking one coach to go out there to win a Super Bowl, give me one season, I'm taking Bill Belichick. So that's enough said.
That is enough said. We've had a lot of time now to think about this and react to this. RC, haven't heard from you yet on it. What are your thoughts, especially Tom Brady?
We've been reacting to this for, 2 or 3 days now, and everybody feels the same. Don Shula should have been a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and he was. Right? Tom Landry should have been a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and he was. Chuck Noll should have been a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and he was. Just like Bill Belichick. None of those 3 coaches, who are all phenomenal coaches, who are coaches that should be enshrined amongst the greatest, would think to themselves, I had a better career than Bill Belichick. And then you hear all the reasons why this possibly could have happened. People are talking about Deflategate or Spygate, whether he treated the media in the way that says he should be in. And I say bullcrap to all of that. Because the bottom line is, what did you do on the field? What did you do in between the lines? What did you do inside the building? What did you do in the most important moments? And everybody knows there was no one as good as Bill Belichick. There's no one that's left a legacy on the game the way Bill Belichick has. The reason that there are so many players from the New England Patriots teams that are in the Hall of Fame right now is because of Bill Belichick, whether it's Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Rodney Harrison should be. Obviously, Tom Brady is going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. The walls of the Hall of Fame are now shallower and more hollow than they have ever been because Bill Belichick didn't get what he rightfully earned and deserved, which was being a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, my question that I remain adamant about is, what a great opportunity for the Hall of Fame to make it right. And I know that this isn't the participation trophy thing people are throwing out there. There's a new voting process. It obviously is flawed. Why can't the Hall of Fame take a step back and be like, let's check what actually happened out here and make this right? There has not been one person that has come out that has made a justifiable reason for Coach Belichick to not be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. This is obviously a big deal. Unless someone does, why can't the Hall of Fame take a step back and be like, you know what? We reevaluated. Everyone makes a lot of good points. The process is a flawed process. Let's make sure that we do this the right way. Because the right thing is to have him in as a first-ballot Hall of Famer. I understand that everyone's up in this uproar of like, no, you can't go back to vote. Why not? Why can't we just do the right thing? Why can't the Hall of Fame do the right thing and realize the egregious mistake that has happened? Unless those voters come out and justify their reason for not putting him in, then either take their vote away or rectify the situation. Just because it's never happened before doesn't mean it can't happen in the future, because for everyone that sits there and says, well, personal bias impacted, of course it did. They're human beings. Trust me, when you vote for awards, bias will play its part, but bad blood should not. And at least by reports, to RC's point, bad blood has played its part in here. And then the other part is this: who's next? Like, who's next? Who's going to be the next person to suffer the consequence of, you were mean to me in the locker room? Because here's the thing. If people are going to use the Spygate, Deflategate as part of this, Tom Brady was on those teams, Randy Moss was on those teams, Rob Gronkowski was on those teams, Mike Vrabel was on those teams. There's a couple of... Teddy Bruschi was on those teams.
No, Ty Law was on those teams. Richard Seymour. There are people that are Hall of Famers right now who are on those teams. And the first thing I tweeted was, if that went into the reasons Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, then Tom Brady shouldn't be either.
Right. Which
and
is outrageous.
that would be outrageous
Exactly.
if Tom Brady doesn't. Tom Brady's whole presentation should go like this. Whoever's representing him in the New England Patriots, the Tampa, whoever it is at the time, they should walk up and go, Tom Brady. Everybody in the room should say I. And the same thing should have happened for Bill Belichick.
Good point. S.A.?
Couple of things. Number one, we'll address both of you not wearing a tie another time, okay? Because we'll address that, especially you, Dan.
Oh, you had a
definitely.
black hoodie on.
And you know what I'm saying? I mean, we'll talk about that with RC. RC, I mean, you know, you're supposed to be the black Zoolander, the male model. We'll talk about that later because that's not how you're looking this morning. Secondly,
I'm going to tell you this before you finish, when your hairline can look like mine, you don't need no tie, brother.
No.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something right now. You know what? I'm glad RC brought that up. Do you understand how good I look? I'm 58.
No.
Call me when you that age. I'm 58, my brother. Keep that in mind, okay? So we'll do that another day. But you got me with the hairline thing because I'm trying to work that up. Here comes from that. Here I come. Here's the point, y'all. Here's the point. Let me say, that's right, Dan. I said it. I ain't ashamed to tell you. Let me get serious for a second with this whole Bill Belichick thing. We all know where I stand with this. This is egregious. I think this is one of the most egregious things that we've seen in sports. I'm embarrassed for the industry, for any scribe, for any reporter. Obviously, it's not just reporters that are on the selection committee, but when anybody that's in this industry, to me, that takes this position that he didn't belong to, as a first ballot Hall of Famer should be ashamed of themselves. Okay? It's no longer a privilege to be associated with the Hall of Fame. Have you paid attention, Hall of Fame folks? It's not a privilege to be associated with you today. It's an abject embarrassment. It is a disgrace, Dan, because what you've done is you've diluted the significance and the importance of your own institution by omitting the greatest coach in history. There is no excuse to do there's no excuse to have rules in place that would allow you to do what has been done to Bill Belichick, to ignore what he has done. We've heard of Lawrence Taylor. We've heard, Tom Brady won 2 championships as a defensive coordinator with Lawrence Taylor. He's won 6 championships with Tom Brady as his quarterback. We know what this man has done. We know what he's led. Now, to play the devil's advocate for only a second, because I don't believe it, but I want to articulate the argument being made against Bill Belichick. They're saying Spygate. He cheated. He got fined $500,000, which was the largest fine in history, for that's been accorded to a coach. That's what they're saying. They're talking about the $250,000 fine that the Patriots had to surrender along with a pick. They're talking about those things being associated with Bill Belichick. And then they bring up Pete Rose and gambling, or they bring up a Barry Bonds that has been, denied Hall of Fame entry and stuff like that. And they're like, what makes Bill Belichick so different? I'm like the 3 Super Bowls before Spygate and the 3 Super Bowls after. How about that as an argument? To me, when you have the kind of resume that he has had, it is just shameful to omit him from it. But here's where it's getting interesting. You've got people, I'm on my radio show yesterday, I had a couple of guests and I had callers calling in. You've got some people that are saying Tom Brady is next. And they're bringing up Spygate and they're bringing up Deflategate. And I'm saying you're going to sit with a straight face and think, I'm telling you right now, they might as well burn the building down if Tom Brady is denied entry as a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'd like to see somebody show up with a straight face, okay, on camera that has a vote, or anybody associated with the Hall of Fame to sit there with a straight face and try to justify Tom Brady not being a first ballot Hall of Famer. If that happens, along with Bill Belichick, why even have the Hall of Fame? Because the credibility of the institution will eviscerate before our very eyes, because we know that is just highway robbery. You don't do something like that. It was bad enough for what they did to T.O. It really, really was. It was bad enough for what they did to him. But to do it to Bill Belichick and then to talk about doing it to Tom Brady, we've lost. We're off the skids. We've lost it if that could be justified in any way. But that's what some people may try to do, and we need to be mindful of that.
So yesterday, the first non-Belichick voter came forward and came clean, if you will. It was a columnist for the Kansas City Star. He's the representative of the Kansas City Chiefs media contingent. And he said this, quote, I didn't vote against Bill Belichick or Kraft. I voted for the 3 senior candidates, Ken Anderson, Roger Craig, and Elsie Greenwood. He also said later in this piece, I felt more compelled by what I perceived to be their last chances and looming lost causes within the system as we have it, a system I hope the Hall will see fit to change for now. to me, I read this article, I took away from it, okay, this guy didn't think that Bill Belichick didn't deserve to be in, but he was like, I thought you were going to vote for him. I thought you were going to vote for him. And I decided to take the way of voting for guys that were more senior that maybe couldn't get in later. Here's the problem now with the voting is what if this continues to happen, and it does happen with Brady or anyone else going forward that's deserved? Does this justify it, although your feelings towards Belichick not?
Hell no. It does not justify it. What the hell are you doing thinking about other people that had multiple chances, multiple bites at the apple and didn't get in, and allow that to usurp the legitimacy of Bill Belichick being a first ballot Hall of Famer? Bill Belichick is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's an 8-time champion. I don't give a damn what you're looking out for with seniors trying to get in and all of that stuff. They've had ample opportunities to get in. It didn't happen. So what is the issue as it pertains to Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick has nothing to do with that. Bill Belichick goes in on his own merits. You either warrant being in as a first ballot Hall of Famer or you don't. And when something so clearly obvious is denied, it gives us all cause to pause. And first of all, I'd like to see that columnist's face. I mean, why can't we see his face? We don't see who you are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was nice that you gave the quote and all that stuff. I shouldn't have to Google to look up the images of you. I should see your face right there. Find his picture. Find his picture, and let's work diligently to find the other 10 people who want to hide. No, we're in this business. When players get rejected, we know exactly who they are. We know what their name is. We know what their position is. We know what their resume is, and we damn sure know what they look like. The same with coaches. How come it couldn't be the same with the media? I'm in the media. I don't get to hide. Anything that I say is right there, face first, right there. I'm not hiding.
You are not.
I ain't trying to hide. You're damn right I ain't trying to hide. I mean, and my point is, as a person who's been a columnist, you shouldn't want to hide. You shouldn't want to hide. You should want to be front and center and stand on yours. Since you're so right and so justified and so sanctimonious in this particular case, I'm not trying to disrespect the writer, but come on. You got to give a better explanation than that.
I think
in the end, the greatest ever is not in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. No matter what, Bill Belichick should be in the Hall of Fame. But this speaks more to Dan's point of revamping the voter process, right? If you ask anybody in Pittsburgh, they believe L.C. Greenwood should be in the Hall of Fame. You ask anybody in San Francisco, hell, you ask me as a young kid who watched Roger Craig high step down football fields.
Bowl.
Yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame to us. And so this writer is saying, I believe these people also deserve to be here.
Sure.
It might be their last chance. It points to the human side of the voter, which Dan is talking about. As the human side, you're trying to weigh, well, I think enough people are going to vote for Bill Belichick, so maybe I can give these guys votes so they could get in. And it talks to a revamping of the process. Bill Belichick should be in, no doubt. Bill Belichick is going to be the catalyst for change, which he should be, because it is, in my opinion, the first no-brainer outside of T.O., because I believe T.O. is a no-brainer. I'll get to that later. Outside of T.O., that should have been a first-ballot Hall of Famer that was omitted. And you mentioned Pete Rose. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, too. You mentioned Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds should have been in the Hall of Fame.
So absolutely.
It again talks about the human side of what we do and what those voters are doing, and that has to change.
Why can't the committee and the Hall of Fame just get together and rectify it? I think the other thing, the butterfly effect, because I agree, the human part of this, I actually can appreciate the columnist.
Me too.
I can appreciate him saying
that.
that.
He's the first one to be like, it was me.
The reasoning, I can understand a little bit of the thought process.
I appreciate that. I just want to see his face.
Yeah, I can understand a little bit of the thought process. I also think this, Shefty was talking about this, the reality and the butterfly effect of this, because there's only one coach in allowed a year. So now there's coaches like a Tom Coughlin that have to wait another year, a Mike Holmgren, a Mike Shanahan that have to wait another year. So I just think common sense can play its part here with this whole evaluation of what's actually going on. I don't have a vote. I don't deserve a vote. But just to sit there and say, this is the highest regard somebody that is in the field of football can play, and just make sure that the right choices are made. Because I would say this, most people, because I agree with you on the T.O. thing, and Stephen A., you've been around a lot longer than me to evaluate this. Most people, I would imagine, that are up for Hall of Fame potential, you could probably stand on either side of the fence and make the argument yes or no. Like last year's MVP vote, Josh or Lamar. Either one, God bless you. You know, I would imagine most people that are up for the Hall of Fame, you can understand both sides of it saying, yes, vote, maybe not vote type of thing.
There's
right?
only one answer with Bill Belichick, which is
Exactly.
why
Only one.
this has been such a lightning rod of a conversation because it's like common sense, people.
Exactly.
And in my opinion, there should have been somebody that even after the votes were made that said, hey, let's get back in the room or let's get on Zoom, however we do this, and have another conversation because what we are about to do is going to kill what we represent.
Exactly.
Definitely. All right.
And Dan, by the way, just to close the segment, you may not think you deserve a vote. Suddenly after this, I believe I do, because I don't give a damn. I'm going to say how it is. I'm not going to have feelings or personal feelings getting in the way of a resume. A resume is a resume. The man deserves what he deserves. I don't give a damn how truculent he was with the media or how dismissive he was and all that. What I care about is what was his job description and how elite was he at that job. Significantly, according to most opinions, there is no one who has ever been better than Bill Belichick. Jimmy Johnson refuses to fly to the Hall of Fame. He changed his mind. He was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. I applaud that decision. It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace.
Make it right.
Jimmy Johnson's sound bites have been a
Jimmy
gift.
Johnson
Jimmy
had a
Johnson
day.
situation.
He was a GOAT back in the 90s. He's a GOAT
He has
again.
been great on this whole situation.